Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? I had mute on there. I caught it. I caught it this time. It's funny. I've done whole streams, on mute, and 30 minutes later, I mean, everybody's done that. But anyway, thanks for being here, folks. Thanks for hanging out here with me. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patty's Day to those who celebrate. In case you're wondering, that's my intro and outro song. It's Church of Eight Wheels. And I like to dance, and because I like to set the right tone. I think it's easier to learn when you're having a good time. I know that's the case for me. And some of this stuff we're doing can be kind of dry and academic, complicated, frustrating. And I like to set the right tone, just to have a little bit of fun. Let you know it's okay to have fun. We have a lot of stuff to cover. I want to look at all the cryptos, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Zcash hype. Some of the other stuff that's kind of floating around, some of the stuff I've been talking about, of course, on Twitter at Big Cheds. If you see me there, thanks for your follow and all your feedback and all your interactions and great questions. I just want to tell you quickly, if you're looking for somewhere to trade, check out BingX. They're a wonderful exchange. And I've worked with them for, I think, like 6 years. So I have a very nice relationship with them. If you're looking, for somewhere to trade, check out BingX. They're really good. I'm very dedicated to creating like learning material for you, like free educational material. And I've gone through and I've done the hard work of studying professional technical analysis. I did CMT, and I've read the textbooks, and I try to take that and make it easier for you to digest, right? So specifically, check out the encyclopedia series. There's over 300 videos now. This is something I'm really proud of. New one released every day, I think, until I have a plan for about 500 videos. So there's a couple hundred more. And just for you to learn anything you'd ever want to learn, how to play a fake out, what's confirmation, what's an outside bar, what's random stuff, descending, right angle, wedge, what's a Maribozu. So it's both like Japanese candlestick theory and which is Eastern TA and Western technical analysis. So, like some people don't even know about this playlist. I mean, look, this is just, 50 videos. You can just scroll down. There's hundreds. What's a golden cross? What's a value area? Point of control, So it's just a great resource for you. If you're just like not sure about things and you're hungry to learn, check out the rest of the stuff. I have published 4 books, if you don't know, and I'm really proud about that. You can get them free. Here on my YouTube at Cheds Trading. What's up, Sebastian? Says, what's up, loser? How you doing, brother? You can get my books free. So like the Trading Quotes book, my 3rd book has its own playlist. My Cancer memoir has its own playlist. And my newest book, the Trading Journal, I'm doing the whole thing for free. What's up, Martwan? I'm doing the whole thing for free on on YouTube. Also the Trading Wisdom as well. Just check out all that stuff. And of course, Bitcoin Live, where I'm a founding analyst. I've been there for 8 years, twice a week, full market analysis, best team in the world. Really proud of it. So, get your questions ready, your comments. I have the stuff that I want to talk about, like the charts I want to talk about. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear your feedback, your questions. Give me your toughest questions. I see we got a couple already. Sebastian's coming at me heavy, Sebastian says. He says, most of your recent analysis is wrong. Meanwhile, you're so confident in X. I mean, I think my analysis is actually really good on Bitcoin. I think I'm one of the best in the world. But I will get it wrong occasionally. Like, so for example, I thought we would have already broken down to 55K. That didn't happen. But, I literally told you when we were hanging around here, Sebastian, I said, get ready for a drop to this level and get ready to play a bounce. So if you're long, you should say, hey, thanks, Cheds, for giving me the heads up. So I'm trying my best to get it right. I'll get it wrong sometimes. And what I try to do is own up to it. I put out a tweet yesterday, look at this terrible call by me. And so maybe we'll start with that. And the idea was, I said, 55K watch parties. So why was I saying that? And why 55K? Well, there's a couple important concepts. First of all, if you look at this 38-week range, right? So you see the price did a nice little bull flag here in the weekly. And essentially the bottom of the range is right at 55K. So there's an important concept. So let's say you have the price go and do like a bullish rectangle, right? With a well-established upper and lower boundary. And then the price breaks out above And when it comes back, it should hold what's called the throwback or a bullish retest. I'll look at Hypejow. It's a bullish retest. So when the price, if the price is unable to hold in the top of the range, once it re-enters this price range, it has the likelihood to test the bottom of the range, which is why 55K to me made sense, because I didn't see the response, that I wanted to see off of this nice lower shadow candle, right? If you go back a little bit, and we're kind of just, walking away through the 4 hour, initially it looked pretty good. It looked like we were going to continue up, but we had essentially a series of failed higher lows, and a push back towards range low. And then we had this failed breakout, right? This failed breakout here. So I'm thinking, okay, 55K watch party. Now, I put it out yesterday and I said, bad call, terrible call by me, because it looks like bulls are pushing higher. So, I'm ready for the bulls to flip this 73K into support. I'm ready for the bulls to march higher. And, I'm open to the possibility that they can reclaim this major low here, right? But if you are bullish, you're still in danger. If you think I'm wrong on my 35, 45K call, which came up here around 95K, if you think I'm wrong in that, you need it to reclaim these lows. So first and foremost, until the price can reclaim, 85K roughly and get back up above this level, it's still very much in danger for putting a lower high here somewhere and continuing with, what would be just kind of a normal, peak to trough, type of cyclical consolidation. And, my projection to this level was actually less of a drop than we'd seen, in prior cycles, right? So, but where are we at right now? Where are we at right now? Well, you can say bull flag. I'm sorry, pardon me. You can say bear flag, right? You can draw a bear flag on the weekly, but I think we want to recognize that we had a really nice weekly candle here, closed near the peak of the range, right? So that in Japanese candlestick theory, when you close near the peak of the candle, it's suggestive of bullish continuation. And generally, there's a decent local reclaim here at 73K. So, we're at 74K right now. If the bulls can hold here and turn this into support, they can stair step, they can continue with some type of a rising demand. That's what needs to happen. That's what we can watch right now. That's what we can watch here locally, meaning in this nearby price channel, as the price pushes up towards, this major overhead level. So you get the major overhead level. And again, for me, it needs to reclaim that. If you want to know, Cheds, when will you change your mind about, your broader long-term projection? That would be if the price can reclaim this level. So hopefully that makes sense, Sebastian. Let's see. Sebastian says, you said so loudly, price to go on 65K. BTC went to 76, and you're saying that you gave 62K long. Oh, so you missed it. Okay. So you got to make sure you have my, you got to have my tweets on notifications, right? So if you'll note here, I gave you this message on February 3rd. So this is not just to Sebastian, but everybody else, right? Who may have missed it, who maybe wasn't paying attention. So here, let's go to the weekly chart. You can see it a little bit better. So here's what was happening, right? We had just broken down. We're right here. This is, 3rd of February. And I'm basically saying we need a quick drop to create the opportunity for a bounce. And Sebastian, I told you to be ready at 62K for a bounce, right? And I not only said that, but then I did a video explainer, right? And you can see the video explainer here of why I was expecting it to bounce here. And the reason was that you had this 38-week range lining up with the 2021 peak and kind of the middle of this range, and then an overreaction. So actually, Sebastian, I told you ahead of time to be ready for a drop there. And then when the drop happened, I put out a tweet and said, this is it. Here's the bottom. It should hold here, right here. Look. Tags the zone, really should hold here short term. And then I replied to my own tweet somewhere in there, and I said, this is it. That's the bottom. So I gave you the play ahead of time. So I gave you the bounce. So what's interesting is you can criticize me, which is I love it. I'm welcoming it. Even though I was looking for 45K, I still told you be ready for a bounce at 62K, and I gave you the trade. So I'll always take a good trade, even if I think longer term it's going somewhere else. Okay, so maybe you just missed that, Sebastian. You maybe your best bet is to put my tweets on notification, and you won't miss it ahead of time when I gave you that really, really nice setup. So if you want it to be, you're already long, from 62K based on the setup I gave you. Okay. What's up, Psalm? Good to see you. Raheem, nice to see you. Luis, bunch of requests. I want to cover whatever you guys want me to cover. So that's just a basic overview on Bitcoin. I want to look at Ethereum, and it's critical that we have the 2150 break here, right? If we go back in the history, Ethereum's history, this 2150 level has been important, since 2022. The lows turned into resistance, turned into support, and then we had this deviation back into support, failed to hold again. And if you look locally, again, locally means nearby, and I'll use that term a lot. And I have videos on all the terms I use just to explain it to you. But you can see we have these series of underside rejections. And the concept in the classical charting is that when you have a price level, the more times you test it, right, the more important it is, and the more likely it is to break. And so therefore the more significance the break of that level is, right? So you're long if you want to be, just on that 2150 break, right here. And I gave you a little heads up on that. I tweeted that out. I said, it's down here somewhere. I'm pretty active, but I basically said, Ethereum breaking out. There's the breakout. Be ready for it. There you go. ETH breakout. So I gave you a heads up on that. And I try to give you folks, heads up and stuff that's happening. Ethereum versus Bitcoin, a nice initial outperformance. We'll see if we get follow through on that. Generally, you see Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin in these quote-unquote altcoin seasons. We'll get to hype, folks, really in just a minute. I just want to go down my list. So we'll see if there's continued outperformance. Solana also scored a very important breakout, and it had a series of failed breakouts. Now, this is a bear rectangle, and we have a bullish break of a bearish rectangle, right? You see this very clear upper and lower boundary, and you see the price attempting to break it a couple times, now fake out, all these fake outs, and now finally continuation and the highest daily close in this series. So really, you just want to see the price hold above 88, 89 going forward. With Solana, we're seeing a nice little bounce here. You want to look for probabilities. Raheem's asking me. And by the way, thanks to everybody for showing up. I'm not sure if I said that. I just want to say thanks for hanging out with me here on a Tuesday. I would have streamed Friday, but I did kind of like, not an emergency, but I did an update report for Bitcoin Live. I wanted to, the members here are my priority, so I did one of those instead. And today is the update. I try to stream once a week, but as you know, Bitcoin Live is going to be my priority. So for Solana, it's got a pretty decent shot to make it all the way up to maybe a little bit lower than here. It's got a decent shot to make it all the way up to around 115, but you definitely want to stop and see what the price reaction is here at 100, okay? Hypes requested, we'll get to that. Let me just go down my list and see if there's anything interesting. So look at TRX, huh? Nice break, long break in 29 cents, gave you a nice long signal, a lot of strength, breaking towards the peak of the broader W. W is a term for like a double bottom. Adam, this would be an Eve and Eve. I have videos specifically on double bottom in the trading encyclopedia. XRP, it's okay, a little bit of a break here, but it's not as conclusive price action. I really don't see much of a trade here yet. But Zcash is kind of interesting, and Zcash is flirting with, you asked me if short-term targets influence. I just gave it, brother. Let me know if that's not, I'll go back if that, I know there's a little bit of a delay, but I gave you the Solana influence. Zcash, it's a two-level filter, right? And we've talked about that many times. What's the two-level filter? Well, when you have a diagonal line, there is a danger in taking a long just in a break of a diagonal because it will continue down, right? Just like that. That's why you mark out some type of a lower high, right? And then that's your two-level filter. So here's our diagonal break. Here's our lower highs. So if you wanted to be long in Zcash, you're welcome, Daniel. Appreciate you, brother. If you want to be long in Zcash, you take your long right here at 260, okay? And can it hold here on the throwback is the name of the game. It's similar in some sense to, Bitcoin, you're wanting to see Bitcoin hold here at roughly 73K, right? So we got that going on with Zcash. Hype was requested. We'll cover Tau as well. I'll add this to this list. I want to do metals. I want to look at like MicroStrategy. I want to look at a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, BitTensor. Oops, I had it. Let's add it back. Hope everybody's doing well. Really, really appreciate you. So what's going on with Hype? I mean, Hype has a lot of strength. That is for sure. And Hype has essentially been stair-stepping. It's essentially been stair-stepping here, where it broke out, it held, it's breaking out. Probably will hold on a throwback here. Want to see that hold as you continue the rising demand. It's a nice look, right? Hype has had relative strength. Nice push higher, clearing that level. So I would generally like to see it hold 36, 37 going forward. But I'd much rather be a bull than a bear. Really like what Hype is doing. I think a major level above is going to be in the high 40s, around 47, 48. So you maybe will want to pay attention there. Okay. All right. Let's see what else is requested. So Tau was also requested. Tau is very interesting. I mean, that's a very strong move. But it's in the midst, or it's in the middle of a downtrend, right? Why is it a downtrend? Well, it's priced below a falling MA200. That's just the definition of a downtrend in classical charting. Again, I have a video on this concept in the encyclopedia if you want to know what's an uptrend, what's a downtrend. And also if you want to know what my moving averages are, you can see them here. And I have explainer on, for those who it's your first time here, it's great to have you. I try to explain everything. I have a video on like what my moving averages are, what's the difference between an exponential moving average and a simple moving average. And Tau, I mean, it's very clearly, it's a very clear risk pivot. And there's a concept of, price interaction with the key level, right? Where if you generally are playing here in the middle of the channel, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. But you can observe the price now bouncing into this level, and you can say, I can take a short as long as it doesn't go above here, or I can take a long as long as it holds this level, right? You can have your stop loss defined very nearby the level, and you get that asymmetric risk to reward. So this is just a very clear, critical moment for the chart, and you have the concept here, a very important concept of price interaction with the key level. All right. Keep your questions coming. I liked that tougher question earlier from Sebastian. I love those. Bring it. Like I'm here to explain. I want to explain. I want to teach. I want to do my best. And so keep it coming. So we covered Tau. We'll check out Near as well. Let me do a couple more requests, and then I'm going to go cover some of the stuff I want to cover. We'll get back to the rest of your questions. What's going on with Near here? Okay, what is going on with Near? I mean, this is a big spot, right? I had initially looked at Near as a short here, but it did not pause, and it has some relative strength. But it's worth being cautious because you just have a very well-defined horizontal zone here. You, again, still have price in a downtrend. You have a bounce in a downtrend. And the idea, of trading with the trend, I talk about this in Trading Wisdom, in Trading Journal, and Trading Quotes, is that if you want to go long, you want to wait for a dip in an uptrend. If you want to short something, you need a bounce in a downtrend. Here you have a bounce in a downtrend, just a very clearly defined level. It's similar to Tau, except here it's more slowly grinded up to that level. But this is just a very big momentum pivot. If Near can flip this, I think you might be in good shape for a little while. And you can even think about this level as a two-level filter, if I can grab that properly. So you can kind of think about this as a two-level filter as well. So this is the critical risk pivot for sure for Near. I want to talk about Grass as well. Grass is a very, very interesting setup. I did tweet out, where are we going? I did tweet out Grass. Nope, no drafts. There you go. I did tweet out Grass a bunch of times, kind of as it was preparing. And as it had recently broken out, let's try to find it. Let's try to find it. All right, whatever. I just tweet too much, right? I'm just way too active. Way too active. I thought for sure I had more yesterday. Here we go, clean breakout. So March 10th, which is about a week ago, I said, hey, we have momentum here and a volume cluster. And this is notable. Look at this cluster of volume. So we know from the concept of the most volume comes at the top and the bottom of a chart. What's up, Burnside? Yeah, definitely Jordan. I mean, but I love both Kobe and LeBron, for sure. I'll do MPC in a second, Mox. So the idea of a volume cluster, right? So you have the most volume at the top and the bottom of a chart. And when you see a cluster of volume, why do you have the most volume at the top and the bottom of a chart? Well, the idea is that when the price is trending, say it's trending down, you already have an imbalance in supply and demand. You have more sellers than buyers, right? The price is trending down. And say the price gets to some kind of a major support level, then you have a battle ensues. The counter trend, which is the bulls in this case, come in, they try to defend support, and you get all this volume. And then you look for a cluster of volume. It gives you a sense that maybe the trend is turning around. So when I put out this tweet, it's bullish strength, volume cluster, and we're testing this pivot. And this is the same concept where you could have taken a short with a nearby invalidation or a long with a nearby invalidation. Because again, it's the concept of price interaction with a key level. And we got the breakout and graphs look strong. So this is a nice, very nice looking chart. I would keep an eye on, keep an eye on this level for a throwback if we get it. Okay, we covered Tau, we covered Near, we covered Grass. We'll get to MicroStrategy. Couple requests. Let's see. Psalm Capital, Texas Pacific Land Corporation. So is that railroad? I'm guessing this is a railroad. Whoa. That's looking good. It's pretty good. That's a nice bullish coil. I know I drew it this way initially, but it still generally looks like an ascending triangle to me. That's a nice bullish look. Or, bull pennant if you want, right? I mean, that's bullish. There's no question about it. There's a nice looking chart. Let's see. NPC was requested. Sure. Let's see. How are you guys doing, by the way? Is everybody doing well? What are you guys trading, right? Let me know. NPC, USD. You guys trading equities too, just crypto. What are you guys into? What do you want to talk about? All right, MPC. I recently recorded a couple videos for the trading encyclopedia. I don't know if they've been released yet, but it's the idea of pay attention to wicks, right? And for me, you can just see in here all these upper wicks. It's an upper wick featured channel. And this just shows me that as bulls are trying to get back above this level, they're getting sent back. So I'd be cautious here. I'd very much be cautious here. I mean, just look. I mean, every time it's tried to get back above here all year, it's been sent back. So, I mean, sure, there's a little bit of momentum here, but I would be careful. I'd be very cautious here. There's a very decent chance that this fails and rolls over. I'm doing well. Thank you, Raheem. Appreciate you, brother. So there's a decent chance this fails and rolls over here. What's up, 10 Mike? Great to have you. Bitcoin Live member 3 years. It's awesome, man. How are we doing? Are you enjoying it? And I'll cover stuff. Hey, folks, you're here today. Members, non-members, just great. Just want to help everybody. So nothing's going on here with the pump, huh? Where's the action? Where's the juice? We'll talk about Circle. Where's the action? Where's the juice in this thing? I mean, it kind of maybe looks like it's slowed down a little bit in the selling, but there's nothing I like about this, man. There's just not much going on here, right? I mean, it's tightening. I mean, there's certainly a tightening range here. Kind of generally just view that, and I guess probably that's how you'd look at it, and that's bearish. That's a descending triangle. So I would just hopefully you're not holding pump. I don't like pump here. JDX says, "Hey uncle, what's up? You can unk me. I'm definitely unk these days. So I'm getting pretty old, even though I don't look old. I feel young, and I think that's why I radiate youth. But man, I'm getting old. Tell you that much. My knees and ankles tell me I'm old." Azad Med says, "Hey Cheds, coming by to say thank you for being so active and dedicated to the community for free." Thank you. I mean, you folks, I mean, I've said this before, but not everybody knows this. When I got started out, like people helped me. And I had one person in mind who really mentored me. And, you know, once I started to get better myself and I started trading a lot and reading textbooks, I wanted to give back, and teaching you is how I get better. Like, honestly, like, you know, I have this playlist, the encyclopedia, you know, 300 videos free. But to create these videos, I had to make sure I knew all these concepts. So I'm learning, you know, I had to see if work reversal. I'd never used it. So now I know what it is. I made a video on it, right? So teaching you is also how I get better. So I do really enjoy it. And I get better by teaching you. So everybody wins, right? So, but definitely check out all my stuff. You know, I published those books. I published 4 books. They've done really well. But I want to get my stuff out there, right? So that's why I make it free. Like, that's why I just make my books free too. Like, you can buy them. You can listen to them in your car. I've recorded audiobooks for all 4 of my books. You know, I narrated them. But just like, not everyone wants to buy a book. They want to you just get it free on my YouTube. So hopefully you're taking advantage of that. It's interesting to see Circle shaking off this bearish engulfing candle here. That's interesting. I really thought it would have paused here around 113, 114. JDX says, I'm going to go watch the bullish flag. Yeah, I have a video on bull flag. Go watch it. I actually thought Circle would have paused here. So that's a nice sign that it invalidated this bear engulfing and outside bar as well. It's outside bar and bear engulfing. Next major test around 150. There's quite a lot of momentum here in Circle. And at really any of these points, could you have tried to short, and they've failed at this point. Burnside says, Cheds books are goated. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you, brother. I mean, the reviews are great. I don't know if you've seen them, but if you go to like Amazon, you know, the reviews are really good on all my books. All right, enough about that. So yeah, I mean, Circle's a lot stronger than I thought it would have been. So that's a good call. Avax, I haven't talked about that one in a while. I wonder if I have it on this other list. I have this other list of generally kind of random alts. I don't even have Avax on here, but we'll pull it up. Oh, Fetch was looking interesting too, just as a quick side note. Yeah, Fetch is looking interesting too. Major recapture here. That's notable. Little bit of volume. Bounce into the descending supply trend. Probably does pause here. Probably pauses here, rolls back. Keep an eye on Fetch. Throw back around 20 cents. Let's go to Avax. Yeah, let me know what you guys are trading, how you're feeling, what you think about the market. Anybody can comment on the video. I mean, you're going to be subscribed, but anybody can comment on the video. And if you have a question, I'll try to respond to it. Comment, feedback, criticism, whatever you want, man. I'm here. I'm here for you. Avax looks terrible. Avax looks terrible, to be honest. Now, it did hit a major low, so it's reasonable to pause here. So that's good, but at a minimum, you got to start to reclaim some of these major loss levels, like $16 for sure. You see kind of this failed head and shoulders. So you guys know about head and shoulders, right? Knees and toes. And with it, this is an inverted head and shoulders. And what's critical, shoulder, head, shoulder. And there's all these variations. I have videos on this, right? Variations of say the right shoulder is higher. That's more bullish than if the right shoulder is lower and then neck base slanted, if the neck base is slanted, all that good stuff, right? Like a high. So in any case, what you had here is a pretty flat neck baseline, very easy to play. Now, what's important with the head and shoulders is that you play either the breakout, right? It's called the neck base. Then you take your measured move height from the head to the neck baseline, or you play a right shoulder invalidation, right? So that's critical. That's how you play it. And I write about this in the Trading Journal. And again, I have educational. I think I have 3 videos out on head and shoulders specifically. So you either play the breakout or you play the right shoulder invalidation. And we had a right shoulder invalidation on AVAX, and it rolled over. So at an absolute minimum, you want to see it back up above like $11, $12. But I just wouldn't touch it for now. And if you're like stuck in it, you know, everyone says I'm stuck, right? I don't believe in stuck, right? You're never stuck in anything. You're just you're refusing rather to move on from a failed idea, from a failed trade, right? You're never stuck in anything, okay? Raheem, what about virtual and Sui? Sure, let's just go for it. Let's see, virtual and Sui. Sui, yeah, it's kind of flat. I just don't see much going on here. I mean, you know, why would I play Sui when I could be playing Hype, or even like Fetch is maybe looking better, or I showed you Grass. You know, even Solana looks better. Some of these other things, but this is just very vanilla. Not a very good looking chart. I do not like Sui, and I probably wouldn't touch it until it could reclaim 135. What else? What else you guys want to cover? Covered NEAR, covered Tau, covered Texas Pacific Land. Let's see, covered SOL probabilities. Luis wants me to look at the dollar versus the peso. Sure. USD MXN. Dollar versus the peso. Huh. Okay, what do we think here, boys? What do we think about the dollar versus the peso? I don't think I've ever looked at this pair. I mean, you'd rather be a bear. I mean, that's pretty clear. It is a downtrend. There's a little bit of a reversion here, but so far just to the MA20. And what's a reversion, right? When people say reversion, it's reversion to the mean, and it's often the middle Bollinger Band. So when you have an uptrend, it's going to dip and consolidate, right? It dips and consolidates, and here's your mean, right? Call this, you know, MA20. It could be simple moving average 12 or whatever it is. It's just a brief consolidation to the mean, to kind of the middle of the channel as it's rising, right? And you get these mean reversions, right? And the mean reversion is just kind of like also a just like a bear pennant, right? Here's your bear pennant, or you know, whatever, your rising wedge, right? And you roll over. These are continuation patterns, right? And so this whole action here is the reversion. And that's what we've been dealing with Bitcoin real quick. So I don't like that pair, dollar versus peso. You know, that's what we've been dealing with Bitcoin here. We had this reversion, and now we're in one right now. It's the question of can bulls reclaim? It's really just, can they reclaim and hold 73K, right? And we're looking at the weekly time. You know, I really set up my trading levels in Bitcoin from the daily chart. But using the weekly chart, you kind of get an idea of what the trend is doing, right? And nice reclaim of the upper shadow, you know, the top of this range, this upper shadow. I'll cover Hype again, Niels. You just really want to see it hold 73K, right? It has real potential to roll over just like this. And if you go back, there's a lot of up and down, fake breakout, you know, failed higher low and continuation, similar to what we're seeing here. But it always looks like that until, you know, until it can continue. And so it's just, can we hold 73K? And I know I put out my tweet. I put out my tweet where I was mea culpa and, wow, look at this terrible call by me. And part of it is I just want you guys to know, like, I was pretty sure we would have already broken down, and we didn't. So I'm just trying to make good on that. I'm just trying to show, like, I can get it wrong, or my timing can be off, because a lot of people in my position just like, I've never deleted a bad tweet. I've like never. You know, I've been doing this for, what is it? Where are we in 26? I've been doing this like 12 plus years, putting out charts not once. You know, what's the point? I mean, just own up to it. People love it when you say bad call, right? What's up, Matej? So look, we want to see, you know, BTC hold, you know, 73K. But the point I was trying to make earlier is it's still just a mean reversion for now, right? Still a mean reversion after the loss of the MA50 on the weekly. We're just paused where I expected we would pause, and where I kind of told you ahead of time to expect a bounce. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Burnside? Okay, Hype. I'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. You know, I'm here for you. When I do these streams, they're not often, but make sure to show up when I do them, and take advantage. Ask me questions. Yeah, Hype looks really strong, and I want to see it hold here around $36 area roughly. It's got a pretty good shot though to grind all the way to the high 40s, and that's essentially what I said earlier. Let's talk about MicroStrategy, which just requested. This is a big spot. It is a pretty big spot here for MicroStrategy. This was a descending triangle that broke down. It met its measured move. You can draw it like that. You can say this. Again, I have videos on all these concepts. Very roughly take that. So you can see it played out. It met its measured move. It dropped back down. And this is kind of Bitcoin. Remember I talked about 55K in Bitcoin? This is the same sense of where, if we're going one-to-one, where I would have thought Bitcoin would have gone, we haven't been there yet. Found support. Now it's bouncing right back into this critical risk pivot, right? This is where you have support that should have held. It didn't hold. And now we're bouncing into the underside, right? So if MicroStrategy can get back up above 155, 156, I think that's a very good sign for not only MicroStrategy, but for Bitcoin as well. All right, let's see. What do we see? Nickel says, the bounce you were talking about has already happened, and we were at a key level. I think Bitcoin, right? Right. The bounce I was talking about in Bitcoin was 62K. If you guys remember, I said, I basically said ahead of time, like, get ready. I said here, early February, I said, get ready for, well, this is after, here we go. I said, this is where I said, basically be ready here. And I explained why, right? And this is funny. We're at the exact same price now. This is just before the drop. So I basically said, like, get ready for a drop. And then I said, okay, we're at the level it should hold. And it did hold. And it's been bouncing. It's just been a question of, for me, it's just that I thought it would have already bounced up to the 74, 75K range. And the fact that it didn't do it initially has thrown me off, kind of put me in a spot where I was calling for 55K here. And now that looks pretty dumb. This has definitely confounded me or confused me a little bit. I'll be honest with everybody. Turtles wants me to talk about coin. Let's talk about Coinbase. The bald man coin. Mr. Armstrong. Mr. Anderson. Yeah, okay. Now you could conceptualize this similarly to MicroStrategy with the price nearing lost support. You also have this gap here. Look at this gap. Or window, if you will, if you're a Japanese candlestick trader. And so that's a big level. Let's clean it up. Draw it again. Let's clean it up. Draw it again. Again, if you're looking at my chart and you don't know what these lines mean, I have video explainers for you in the Trading Encyclopedia. These are 3-minute videos on pretty much any concept you'll want to know, and it explains my moving averages. The MA50, simple, means equally weighted. The EMA8, exponential, more price weighting to recent, price action. So Coinbase, what do we think here? What do we think? Let me just take a peek. Yeah, this all looks pretty reasonable. Generally, when I look at the oscillators, and I don't do it that often, as you'll know from both Bitcoin Live and here on YouTube, I'm generally just looking to see if it matches the trend. And generally, we're just matching the trend here, so nothing's sticking out for me. Yeah, it's got a pretty reasonable shot to make it up to around the low 220s, but this looks like a potential trouble area. For Coinbase. What else do you guys want to talk about? Sky USD. We'll do a couple more. We'll try to handle all your requests. I don't know that I've heard of this one. All right, that's a decent looking chart. That is a decent looking chart. Not a ton of history. Trend break, 2-level filter, also rounding bottom, peak of secondary range, and rising demand trend. So that's all the stuff I see. This is critical going forward. Generally want to see it hold above, essentially 7 cents. It's a decent looking chart. That's a decent looking chart. Here's your volume cluster. That's a volume cluster if I've ever seen one. What else? Okay, I promised to cover gold and silver. Brain. Okay, brain's not working. So we have spot gold. Mild break of the trend, very mild break. But we are back to the MA50. Let's clean it up. MA50 held, MA50 held here. If we get a close below, if we say we got to close below the weekly MA50 or the daily rather in gold, that would be a sign of weakening trend. I still would really love to buy some back here in the 4,500. So I'm just waiting for that. Silver, a little bit of a mild breakdown. Again, I'm still waiting for the low 70s. So not too much of an update on that. I want to look at equities real quick. Let's take a look at, let's go to the SPX. Yeah, and we're tagging the MA200 zone. First tag of the daily MA200 since last May, and we have it. This generally has this rounding top type of look, and I've talked about that. And what I had said in previous streams is there was really no reason. Mox Williams says long Ethereum. Yeah, I gave you the sign already. I already gave you the sign on Ethereum. Where is it? Ethereum breakout. Yeah. And here you go. Ethereum daily close above breakout level 2150 zone, critical price level going back 4 years. And I tweeted this out like a month ago. I basically said if it breaks 2150, you should take a long. So you're already long in Ethereum if you want it to be. So the answer is yes. Okay. Now, what I basically said about the SPX, SPY, it's like no reason to be bearish until it loses one of these higher lows. And we're rolling over here a little bit. So I want to see it reclaim 6750. I'll do Pepe. I'll check out Pepe March 1. So it looks like SPX is rolling over. Plenty of demand. Probably going to 6,500 range. We'll see what the response is there. You are welcome. Moxa. What are the Qs doing? Holding up a little bit better. Major demand here out. Generally, again, rounding top type of look, and I generally view this as the trough or the low. If you want to know what a rounding top is, you go to the Trading Encyclopedia, you go to Cheds Trading, you click on View Playlist, you hit Control F, you search for it. I've got videos on rounding top, rounding bottom, and both together. I've got videos on all that stuff, so make sure you're checking that out. We'll go back, and what's oil doing? We'll take a look at oil, West Texas. Intermediate crude oil cash. I know all of you are trading barrels of oil, right? Gallons or barrels of oil. Still bullish. I mean, there's no question about it. EMA 8. A little bit of consolidation. Here's a lower high, probably an equilibrium, tightening range, and we shall see which way it breaks. Pepe shorts. We looked at that. Anything else I want to look at? I looked at gold and silver. I looked at Qs. I looked at SPX. And there's all a bunch of other random equities charts. A lot of stuff. So let's get back to your requests. We'll go back to this other watch list. Pepe. I think I got Pepe. What do we think? Pepe USD, not Pep. Pepe USD. Let's go to Kraken. And you're asking about a short, or you just want to know, yeah, short's fine here. It's a very weak chart. It's not a huge bounce, though. Here's the thing, right? The concept, I've talked about it many times. If you want to long something, right, you wait for an uptrend to dip. If you want to short something, you wait for a downtrend to bounce. This isn't that much of a bounce, man, in a downtrend. Martuan, right? This isn't that much of a bounce. I mean, it's certainly playable because this is an underside zone. It's just not that big a bounce. There's not a lot of meat on the bone. I've already talked about Ethereum BTC. At the beginning of the video, we've seen some brief outperformance here. If you're watching this pair, can that 0.03 level hold? For sure. We'll go back to the weekly chart. And, it's got a higher low to defend here as well on the weekly, right? So we talked about Ethereum BTC. All right. Path. What is Path? What is the path? I'm wrapping up pretty soon, folks. If you have anything else you want to talk about, that's Pith. Is there a path? You said path? I don't even see it. There is no path here. Is that something else? Is it a stock? There's no path, so I'm not finding it. I'm sorry. Did you mean Pith? P-Y-T-H? BNB. Let's take a look at BNB. And similar to Solana, similar to many of these other market participants, with local consolidation ranges, with reasonably well-defined upper boundaries, we have a break. Solana, even, Bitcoin, vis-a-vis 73K range, you can conceptualize this as being the same thing, really. So this 73K in Bitcoin, BNB can hold 660 and higher. So that's going to be the name of the game. Okay, Uipath stock. I'll try again. Uipath. Huh. Let's take a look. Look at that. I want to cover while you've got me here, folks, I want to cover all this stuff for you. And I'll just tell you quickly while you're here, make sure you enjoy the trading encyclopedia, soak it all up. Make sure if you're looking for somewhere to trade, check out BingX, my favorite exchange. I've worked with them for 6 years. Super proud of that relationship. And of course, Bitcoin Live, where I do a twice a week full market report with the best team in the world that studies crypto. Uipath, what is going on here, man? I mean, I generally don't like these sideways type of charts. There's a little bit of accumulation here. We know the OBV will be rising a little bit, but it's still within this sideways, this kind of mired, mucked down type of trend. And I really, with this kind of choppy action, I have to go to the weekly, and this weekly picture is even worse, right? Even worse than the daily. I mean, I would just avoid this. I really don't like this chart. I really don't like the chart. You've had just almost no response here. And here's your lower high. I mean, yeah, I would just avoid this. I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't have $1 in this thing. I don't like it. That's my thought. Could be wrong, but that's just my initial thought. Okay. Rose. Okay, sure. We'll do your requests here. We'll do a couple more. I'm here for you, folks. Big Cheds is here for you. I appreciate you. Really, really appreciate you, folks. And just for you're here watching live, that's awesome. Every person who's here live gives me energy and encouragement to do more of these streams. I really generally stream about once a week because I save a lot of my analysis for Bitcoin Live. I mean, that's the priority. Rose looks bad. I don't want to be a bull in this one. I would just avoid this chart. I would just, I'd probably delete it. To be honest, I'd delete this one from the watch list. There's just nothing good here. There's about 1 million better charts than this one. This is a really, really bad looking chart. All right, should we do one more? River. What do we think about River? Okay, a little bit of strength here. Okay, and trying to break out. Inverted head and shoulders. Neck baseline starting to break out. Okay. So you really want to see it hold here. Big time. Want to see it hold, let's say 1850 should be a stop loss now that it's started to break out. It's actually a decent look. This is actually a decent looking chart on River. Much better than some of these other players. So is Bitcoin, let's wrap it up in Bitcoin, all right? That's why we're here. That's my specialty. Is Bitcoin out of the woods? Are we, is my 45K prediction dead? Is it foolish? What was I thinking? Is it done? Are we definitely not going there? Is it the bottom in? We just don't know. I'd say the bottom is probably not in. I'd say right now it's probably still going lower. It's probably still going to 55K and then probably going to break and it'll probably test the 40s. It's just a question of when. Again, still, sometimes Right says, first time here, like it. I got a lot of videos to watch and I'll be back. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Look, I have like this massive library of videos. These are 3-minute videos. Look at these concepts. Bollinger Band width indicator. 3 inside down. Ichimoku cloud. Didn't you ever want to watch this one's 6 minutes because it's a little bit complicated, but didn't you ever want to know these basic concepts? And my book, my best-selling book, Trading Wisdom, is in here. Of all the books in here, what's a bullish hook reversal? What's Golden Cross? What's Chaikin money flow? How many of you ever used this? I mean, just go watch a video on it. Every candlestick you can think of, pattern failure and its significance. I made this stuff. I just really enjoy creating it. And so take advantage. So the bottom's probably still not in for several reasons. You still have bearish momentum on the loss of the 50. We're just still generally underside EMA 8, right? Primary downtrend resistance. And just every time we've topped off like this, we've had, 75, 80% drawdown. And basically forecasted less of a drawdown than previous cycles, right? I mean, even at the worst, at the lower end of my range, we're talking about 70%. And people told me it was crazy and it was crazy and I can't believe you did that. But like I actually forecasted a conservative drop. Like it's more of a bullish than I could have been, right? So, but I still need more, even though we've had this nice little breakout here, right? I need just to start, I need to see the price reclaim 84.85 for me to start to think the bottom's in. And, you know, one scenario could be doing that, where maybe this is this massive head, and then maybe we can do something like that. I mean, that would be wonderful, right? But the beginning is going to be, we're going to need to recover that. Until then, I'm still looking for a lower high in here somewhere, continuing this trend and doing what just Bitcoin normally does after it tops off, right? You know, loses the weekly 50. People talk about this weekly MA200. We've had our first initial bounce, but if you'll note, it hasn't been like strong resistance. The price is chopped through the weekly 200. So Burnside says, love you, man. Don't skip leg day. Actually, I do martial arts. I don't really go to the gym like for weights. I do a lot of push-ups, sit-ups, punches, kicks. I play hoops. And that's how I stay in shape. I'm in some of the best shape of my life, but I'm old, man. I'm unk. So my body's also falling apart. So it's a little bit of a, you know, six and one half dozen the other. Psalm Capital says, I've seen finance people charge more and offer less than Cheds offers for free. Thanks, man. I just enjoy teaching you. So again, until we can reclaim really the low 80s, sorry, 84, 85, I still think we're probably going to my level, which is 35, 40K. Okay. 35 to 45K. And people want to know not only where it's going, but they want to know when. And so guess one is 35, 45K. Guess two is, I don't know, later this year, you know, like October, like November, October, you know, Q4, sometime in Q4. But that's just like a guess. I don't know any more than you do. I just have maybe more experience, maybe less. I don't know. I just have my perspective based on my muscle memory and looking at this stupid chart, this Bitcoin chart, every day for the last whatever, you know, like 8 or 9 years, like just like constantly looking at it and trying to be really good at anticipating what it's going to do. And sometimes I do a great job. Sometimes I can get it wrong. I did call for the bounce at 62K. So I got that right, but I thought we would have already rolled over, you know, so I got that wrong. And that was me owning up to that in the tweet where I said, you know, look at this idiot, look at this bad call. You know, I'm just showing like I can get it wrong all the time. And I'm trying to check my own ego because sometimes I get on these hot streaks where I just seem to know exactly what Bitcoin's going to do. And people tell me I'm the GOAT and I'm the greatest. And then it gets to my head. So I want to kind of step back and recognize that sometimes I can get it right. Sometimes I can get it wrong, but I'm always trying my best. So I really appreciate you folks hanging out with me. You could be doing anything else. You could be somewhere else. But hopefully you've had fun. I know I have had fun. And I'll try to, I don't think I'm going to stream again this Friday because that'll be 3 days from now. I'm going to do Bitcoin Live this week, obviously. But I'll stream next week. And you can save your questions for then, or you can just reply to the tweets, reply to these YouTube videos. I see most of the comments on the YouTube videos as well. So I don't know. What do you think? Maybe we should dance. Let's dance. Let's get the Church of Eight Wheels, my intro, outro song going. Spread some love, and let's do this. Folks, again, thank you. Here we go.